record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Yes.
So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that. I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was.
Jim Jones messed with the wrong legends, and now he's paying the price. He came for Nas and Pusha T back to back like he had nothing to lose. And now, his whole rap career is barely hanging on. All it took was a few reckless words to flip the culture against him. He claimed Nas was never that impactful, called Pusha T overrated, said he was the reason Nas even went viral again. But that moment, that might have been the final straw. 'Cause what followed wasn't just rap beef. It looked like a setup for total destruction. This wasn't just rap beef. It felt like something deeper had already been set in motion. Now people are wondering, was this just another ego trip spiraling out of control? Or was Jim Jones getting pushed out by the very culture he once helped shape? That quote's still spreading like wildfire. His summer jam set cut short. And Pusha T, he's definitely not done. Let's rewind the whole thing and see what really sparked this slow public takedown. That one sentence was the beginning of Jim's free fall. It wasn't just disrespect. It was a full-on attempt to erase a legend. Jim didn't just critique Nas' new music. He straight up dismissed the legacy of one of hip-hop's most respected icons. Let's get into it. This wasn't just any random podcast. Jim dropped that bomb on the Joe and Jada Show, a space known for chill convos, not career suicide missions. And instead of backtracking, Jim stood on it with his whole chest. He flat out said Nas never really mattered to the culture, and even claimed his Billboard stats could match or beat Nas. Wild. Meanwhile, Jim's own chart stats ain't even touching Nas, and all this kicked off because he wanted to rewrite history with a hot take nobody asked for. Most folks, after getting cooked online for coming at a legend, would have pulled back or at least toned it down a bit. But not Jim. He jumped on Nightcap, looked Shannon Sharp dead in the eye, and tripled down. Said Nas never had the kind of influence people give him credit for. Then Jim said Nas was always in second place. Hold up, second to who? Jay-Z and DMX? These three weren't even in the same lane. Nas was spiritual, poetic, deep. Jay was all business, all hustle. DMX, pure chaos and raw emotion. That's like comparing Kendrick to Future. Completely different animals, different missions, different vibes. But to say Nas never led the pack, that's not an opinion, that's straight up rewriting history. And here's the kicker, Jim doesn't even hide being a fan. He admits he used to dress like Nas back when he was a teen. Let's make one thing clear, Nas ain't just another rapper, he's a pillar of hip-hop. Illmatic gets studied in college classrooms. Ether still gives veteran rappers nightmares. And King's disease showed he's not washed, he's evolving. Meanwhile, Jim's out here talking like he just dropped the Chronic. But this wasn't even about bars, it was all ego. Straight up insecurity disguised as opinion, and he even dragged his kid into it. Like, what message is that supposed to send? The internet lit him up instantly. People started flooding timelines with side-by-side receipts. Every Nas award, every sold-out show, every classic album. Nope. Jim went even further and claimed he's the one who brought Nas back into the spotlight. He really acted like the whole culture should be thanking him for reminding us Nas still exists. The internet wasn't having it. One fan clapped back. The reason you're being talked about is because you're making dumb comments about Nas. That's the only reason folks interviewing you now. Another fan snapped, the amount of delusional disrespect from Jim Jones towards Nas is getting out of hand. I'm sick of it. You get no stripes for talking like this. And the numbers, they don't lie. Nas has been consistently active. 3 albums in 5 years, a Grammy win, and multiple sold-out shows. Jim can't erase that, no matter how hard he tries. Jim really tried to use a movie from 1998 to downplay a 30-year rap legacy. Like what? This is where the delusion kicks in. It's no longer about stats, not even opinions. Jim's talking like he needs Nas to be beneath him, and he's tight that the numbers don't back him up. This wasn't critique, it was all about positioning. Jim wanted to force his way into the GOAT convo, but all he did was expose how pressed he is about never being mentioned with him. And if you thought Jim was finally gonna chill, nope. On Bag Fuel, he dropped one of the wildest takes in this whole mess. He didn't just say Nas wasn't relevant. He didn't just say Nas was second place. You could feel the whole energy shift instantly. Even Jay-Z was seen vibing to it. This wasn't just shade, it was a full-blown declaration of war. And it dropped right in the middle of the biggest event of the season, with lyrics that left no room for guessing. Everybody knew exactly who the shots were aimed at. That chasing a feature out of your element line, straight at Jim for linking with Drake after being crowned honorary Dipset in Harlem. And that's the same Drake Pusha T obliterated in the story of Adidon. A diss so heavy, folks still say he never fully recovered. This wasn't Pusha T clapping back with some random diss on SoundCloud. This was calculated. Pusha turned Paris Fashion Week into the stage for a straight-up ambush. That's how far ahead he's playing. Meanwhile, Jim kept dragging Pusha across every mic he could find. Breakfast Club, Rap Caviar, Drink Champs, calling him not even top 50.
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You did. The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing was when him and Jay was beating on him. You heard? You did? Like, and I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the semantics of it.
Since the old Nas? Okay.
Huh? I don't know Nas.
But Pusha didn't stoop to podcast circles. He brought billionaires, luxury brands, and GOATs to the front row of his revenge, and don't miss the layers. It wasn't just about bars, it was the setting. Pharrell produced the track. The same Pharrell who helped build Clipse's entire sound and has deep roots in both Virginia and fashion's elite circles. Ask ChatGPT. They debuted Chains and Whips, a track reportedly cooked up inside Louis Vuitton's Paris HQ, overlooking the Seine River. Pharrell even told the New York Times, pointing out the exact window, "This was made right here. We were just walking around looking out and it hit us. We're beating the system, bro." But while Pusha was playing chess in Paris, Nas was busy building an empire back in Queens. While Jim was out chasing clout and blog headlines, Nas was unveiling Resorts World Queens, a 350,000 square foot casino complex backed by a $5 billion vision. This ain't no typical brand collab. This is Nas investing in infrastructure, equity, and generational wealth for a whole borough. That's power. The future ain't something you wait on, it's something you build. It's in the hands of the doers, the dreamers, the ones who don't sit still. Resorts World ain't just a casino. It's energy, opportunity, and hope for the borough. For some, it's a second shot. For others, it's their first real step forward. It's where the community comes together, not just to win, but to build something real. This ain't just business, this is legacy. And now, it's time to invest in us. Meanwhile, Jim Jones is out here bragging about Summer Jam bookings like it's still 2008. Nas didn't have to clap back with bars, he dropped receipts. And those hits, way heavier than any diss track. Fans caught on fast. The comments under his post were brutal. The one doing all the yapping is out here chasing viral clips. Meanwhile, Nas is making straight-up boss moves. When you're really rich, really respected, and still relevant, you don't have to clap back. Your life does the talking. Meanwhile, Jim Jones just got booed off stage. Let's set the scene. Summer Jam 2024. Jim finally gets the moment he's been chasing all year, but as soon as he touches the mic, crickets. And then it gets uglier. Funkmaster Flex, his own ally, shuts his set down early. You could see it hit Jim in real time. This was supposed to be his big moment. But all that energy he built around the beef, it didn't land. Because at the end of the day, he didn't bring hits, he brought drama. But even after the flop, Jim still wasn't finished. He had one more diss locked and loaded, and this time, it got personal. After the whole Louis Vuitton takeover, Pusha stayed quiet in public, but behind the scenes, word started spreading. He wasn't done yet. Sources close to Clipse say their upcoming reunion album is packed with surgical-level shots aimed straight at Jim. That Paris track, just the intro, the rest, way darker. Some insiders are calling this Pusha's Coke Bear moment, because he's fully stepping into the villain role now. No more playing it safe. And if Jim keeps running his mouth, it's about to be straight-up lyrical murder, but it's deeper than the bars. It's the strategy. Pusha's comeback is tied to elite spaces, global stages, while Jim's still rapping in Harlem alleyways over the same beat he just got cooked on. Yup, you read that right? Jim tried flipping the chains and whips beat and dropped a freestyle like that was gonna save him. Jim crossed a serious line when he brought up No Malice, a man who stepped away from rap to follow his faith and transform his life. That wasn't just a diss, that was straight disrespect. Pusha T hasn't clapped back publicly yet. But if history's taught us anything, he don't move fast. He moves strategic. And when he strikes, it's lethal. Then came Jim's biggest blunder yet, dissing Clipse's brand new single on camera during an interview. He took one final swing at the duo, and their latest track, Chains and Whips, Ace Trumpets. Jim tried to play it off cool, claimed he never listened to Clipse, never cared. But that fake chill, it slipped. The insecurity leaked out with every word, because deep down he knows they bodied him. And this is where the energy completely shifted. It's not just Nas and Pusha anymore. The whole culture is closing the door on Jim. Blogs are roasting him. Even die-hard Dipset fans are telling him to sit down. This wasn't beef, this was a lesson. Jim Jones stepped into a heavyweight ring with Nas and Pusha T, thinking he had the bars to hang, and got folded by silence, strategy, and billionaire-level plays, and he's not trending. He's not on playlists. Jim Jones is turning into a ghost in his own game. And here's the real twist. The next Clipse album hasn't even dropped yet. That might be the final funeral. If you thought this beef was wild, just wait till you hear what's next. Smash that like button, drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to GOSSUP for more heat.